Welcome, everybody. Let's dive in for our community call on March 24th. Let's go and close our eyes. And just take a few breaths in and out. With your eyes closed, maybe this is the first time you've had a chance to meditate today. Just see if you can drop your awareness into yourself. Noticing if there's distractions that want to take you out. Or if there's a willingness to go into the quiet zone inside of yourself. A little exercise I'd love to do is to first hear the sounds that are the furthest away. And then bring the awareness of those sounds a little bit closer into the room. And then lastly, take your awareness to what you can hear inside of yourself. And just settle here with your breath. Can you hear your heartbeat? Can you hear the breath entering and exiting? And seeing for a few more moments if you can still your body, still your mind, and drop into the present now, even just for one moment. Feeling your belly rise and fall with each inhale and exhale. Slowing down the fluctuations of the mind and gently bring the awareness back into your body, into your breath, and into this moment. Because all of the answers of all life problems are available to you right now in this moment. Staying connected to that stillness and that present moment. Knowing that your mind may run away. You can find that bridge into the present. And then at your own pace, roll your shoulders, stretch your arms, rotate your neck if you wish. And gently open your eyes, welcoming yourself back. So great to see everybody. If you're in the greater Vancouver area, it's raining a lot. And like Troy said, it's raining men. When we first opened this call, there were only men. Videos, other than Louise hopped on video-wise. Love it. Okay, so today we're going to be working on a couple concepts. And some of you know I've got I sent it on the email earlier today. Tomorrow I've got a relationships webinar. I'd love to have y'all. It's at 10 a.m. my time. And there's a link, and I'll put into the chat box before we leave that you can register. There's 4 parts of it. I've already done 1. There's 3 more parts coming up. And there might be an overlap between what I'm teaching today and tomorrow. Not sure. Okay, so today we're going to be working on people-pleasing, perfectionism, and a need for approval. Sort of lump them all together. Cool? That's what we're going to be working on. So self kind of evaluation, scale of 1 to 10, any of those words, people-pleasing, perfectionism, need for approval. How much does that run the ego consciousness in you? Out of 10. And you don't have to divide them up, just like generally. People-pleasing, perfectionism, and a need for approval. We've got 8.55. Very specific. What other numbers do I got here? I got some 7s. What else do we got for people-pleasing, perfectionism, need for approval? We got some 9s. Thank you, Louise. Some honesty here. I got some 8s. Beautiful, Eileen. Okay. So needless to say, probably 10. Yeah. Needless to say, it's pretty high. Is that fair? Very few people in the human body walk around with it being 1 or 2. It tends to be relatively high. Now, one of the reasons it runs us is because we actually believe that something external can actually satisfy our joy state. And the ego does not want to believe that the joy state is internal. So from a very young age, and most of you have heard me teach this before, we're trained into it, and it's not our parents' fault. I guarantee you the first time you slept through the night your parents had a party. The first time you pooped on the potty, your parents were ecstatic. Okay. It's the nature of coming into the human body and the human consciousness into a tiny form that's 5 or 6 pounds, right? As a result of that experience of coming into a tiny body, then as a result of that, you're constantly trained into, oh, you did this good, tick. You did that good, tick. And that tick, 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 tick mark is the beginning stages of people-pleasing, perfectionism, and need for approval. Can it make sense? And you can spend the rest of your life blaming, or you can spend the rest of your life looking for it. Because most of it us look for from our partners, from our businesses, from our bank accounts, right? From how we look in the mirror, how we look when we're working out. You know, all of these are just examples of the people-pleasing, perfectionism, and need for approval that run us. And today we're going to dive into it. And like I said, probably tomorrow, if you join me on the relationship webinar, we'll dive into it deeper. But it's understanding that it's a thought system that the ego loves. And it's constantly keeping, if this was your hand that's looking for people-pleasing, perfectionism, and approval, it's constantly keeping joy just outside your fingertips. Because it's like, oh, I got it. He likes me for 1 second, and it's not there yet. And we're constantly looking for it. I'm writing a book right now. I thought it was on feminine energy, but it's not. It's on healing the hustle. So a couple chapters into it. It's really fun to write, but it's actually like it's understanding that joy is always just outside of our fingertips. And it's one thing that keeps the hustle going. So even the hustle culture, which started, because I was researching it, started with the Industrial Revolution back in the 1800s. That's just part, like that, even it's been going on for hundreds of years, and we all think it's from computers and phones, but it's like the hustle culture keeps joy away. The hustle culture is part of perfectionism, it's part of people pleasing, it's part of looking for approval. Make sense? And it's hard to believe that everything has been given to you in your divine state. And we'll get into that in just a minute here. So I want to introduce you to 2 pictures. And if anyone knows me, I'm not the best drawer. And I'm sure you can do this on an iPad, but too much work to figure out. Okay, so can you guys see that picture? Okay, yeah, I kind of see that, kind of. Stick figure in the middle with 2 big circles around that. Okay, if you could draw that on your own or just keep that in your mind for a second. Stick figure, 2 figures around, okay? What does that represent? There's the human. The first circle around it represents the Christ consciousness. The second circle represents God consciousness. When you're in this visual and you're just so contented that you're part of Christ consciousness, just so contented that you're part of the divine, then you're now, you're in love, you're in joy, you're in freedom. And it's hard to believe, but that's when everything is delivered to you on a silver platter. Got it? But it's retraining the mind to go to love, joy, ease, and freedom. And we actually don't think that's possible. We actually don't think there's an energy around us that supports us and loves us. And that's where we want to understand what's our relationship like with God, with divine, and so on. We'd love to say we believe it exists. We'd love to say that, we trust unconditional love, but we actually don't. But that's one part. Then the other stick figure, so that's where we want to head to, where we're love, joy, freedom, peace, and walking around knowing we're supported, knowing we're loved. Like imagine what it's like walking down the road with a bubble around you, not to protect yourself, but a bubble of love around you all the time. Not just when you're on vacation, not just when you had sex, not just when you made money. All the time. But most of us don't live in that experience. Instead, we live in this other experience again. Excuse the stick figure. So there's the stick figure with a big block in the middle. That block that I sort of zigzagged in there, that's the alternate picture. That's all and it's usually around the heart and solar plexus. We walk around with this block in us, and that's the ego's construct: fear, lack, shame, guilt. Hey, how many of you guys have seen that Netflix series Adolescence? It came out just recently. Anyone seen that? Yeah, holy Louise, right? Yeah, I know. So I won't go into it too much, but it really talks about, even though it doesn't talk about it, it's really good if you have a chance. We turned it on, I think on Thursday or Friday, and I was like, okay, this might be either really good to binge or really bad to binge, myself and the husband. And I watched the first 2 minutes. I'm like, I don't know if I can watch this, but my gut told me to keep watching it. Like, oh, I don't know if I can watch it because it's one of those. It's all about shame and anger and what happens when people involute that shame. So I highly recommend it. Okay. And we want to understand is the people pleasing and all that stuff we do, perfectionism, need for approval, the origin is shame and guilt and not enough. So the origin of all of this looking for love comes from this idea that you're shamed or guilt in some way. Yeah, thanks, Louise. So I want you guys to write down in the chat box, and I want you to be honest with yourself. And I don't want to tell you guys about the Netflix show because you'll watch the first one, like Divi's voice and telling you what's not. I don't want to ruin it for you. So tell me what you were shamed for growing up. Okay, so just use the chat box. Like, what was internally in your mind that you believed you were shameful for? So for me, it was like skin tone, I didn't fit in, being different and shy. Thank you, Karina. How else did the ego shame you when you were a child? How did the ego shame you? What were you taught? Maybe you were taught you were stupid. Maybe you were taught there was something wrong with you. Being too aggressive and competitive, nice. Too loud, too much, good, Louise. My scars, thank you, Kate. Shamed for being frustrated, good, PJ. My messy room, expressing my emotions, crying, not behaving properly, exactly. So these are all, the reason I read them out is because other people's shares might actually make you go, oh yeah, I was shamed for the same thing, behaving properly, totally related to that. Too shy, too quiet, too sensitive. And that becomes the core. The shame runs us. And it feels like this icky energy that's right in our heart and solar plexus. And it makes us want to puke. And then we put on layers that, okay, as soon as somebody approved on me, then it feels for a minute like that dissolves. It feels for a minute that disappears. It feels for a minute that you're better. Got it? And that's why we keep doing the people pleasing, the perfectionism, and the need for approval, because we're not addressing that underlying wound. Can it make sense? So I want you to pause for a sec, close your eyes for a sec, take a few breaths, and talk to that block right in the front of the chest. That, the second picture I showed you, with the ego right in the block center of your chest. Now that ego has a thought system that if you do X, Y, Z, then the shame is gone, then everything is perfect. So tune into that. And that message you're going to get in the center of the chest is going to vary day to day, minute to minute. So right now, thinking of that block, what does the block say? If you do this, then you're okay. If you do that, then you're okay. Tune into it. Whenever you've got an answer, put it into the chat box. For a lot of people, it's if I make $1 million, then I'm okay. If I, find a partner, then I'm okay. Tune into that shame and tell me what you got. What do you got? If I agree with you, nice, Eileen. Nice. So I have to be agreeable. I love that. And then you'll smile at me and then I'll get it. Perfect. What else does that box say to you? Highly successful in my business in Denver. Then I'm okay. Tick. Beautiful, Corey. BJ wrote, if I appear fine, then I'll be okay. Beautiful. If I'm perfect in every single way. These are so good. And what I want you to be open to, oh, this is really good, Denise. There's nothing I can do that I will be okay. Nothing is good enough. So good, Denise. Joni wrote, oh my God, if you figure it out, you look right and act right, good. If I'm healthy, good, Kate, really good. I make millions and millions in my business and peers admire me. So good. And if you're open to it, for some of us, because I just got this intuitive nudge, for some of us, that actually grabs the spiritual ego, like a dog with a bone, and goes running. Because we also have what's called a spiritual ego that says, okay, if you pray more, if you meditate more, if you did manifestation better, if you took this class then, if you took, if. But it's, excuse my language, it's all a mind fuck. We're staying away from this picture, from this God self that we are, from the Christ consciousness. Now I'll introduce you guys 2 more concepts and then I'll open to Q&A and coaching. I will go into practice at the same time. 2 more concepts that I want to introduce you to. Most of you guys have heard me teach them, but okay, no, there's gonna be 3 actually. Give me a sec. Yeah, I'll probably do 2 or 3. Okay. No, I'm gonna do this one first. Okay. So projection creates perception. Most of us have heard that concept, but I want to dive into it a bit. Okay, so you've got this icky crap inside of you, right? And what doesn't want to be seen. So extension, so there's a law that Spirit gave us called extension. Extension is this: when I sit in my light and love, that I can see it in Corey, I can see it in Lindsay, I can see it in Troy. By extension, I'm sending light and love to each person because I can see the light in them. Make sense? That's a simple one. Extension is I extend my light to you. Now, what the ego's done is the ego's taken that idea of extension and flipped it into projection. So projection's a way of getting rid of what you don't want to see. Does that make sense? So if you've got something back here that's really that you don't want to admit about yourself, what the ego does is it extends it by what's called projection by seeing it in everybody else. Because theoretically, stay with me, you guys are still with me. Theoretically, if you're this energy, you would walk around seeing everybody as Christ consciousness. Every single person as the divine. You would not see lacking. You would not see fear. You would not see less than. You'd walk up and down downtown East Side and go, which is where a lot of the homeless people in Canada live. You'd walk up and down and go, you are Christ, you are Christ, you are Christ. And if I have $100 for each of you, I'd give it to you. Because you're speaking from that energy of, so those, you remember I don't know if you could tell the picture. I put the human in the middle and then 2 bubbles outside. One bubble represents Christ consciousness, one represents God. Okay. So we have, and you can call it Buddha consciousness. I don't care what word you use. We have this consciousness of spirit and God that's always with us. And if I'm in this picture, then I can only see Christ consciousness in everybody, and I'm in the now. When I'm in this, and it's moment to moment to moment to moment to moment. And when I'm here and I let that block occur in the middle of my body, just from like a thought form, like, and it could be a silly thought form, like, oh, you put on 5 pounds. Oh, then all of a sudden you're here, faster than I can snap my finger. Then you look around and go, who's too skinny or who's too fat? And that's a way of getting rid of that thought. Because that idea that you have 5 pounds on you keeps the shame alive. And so what projection is, it's like extension, but it's ego's used to go, I don't want to see this fat that I think of myself as a body. I don't like this about me. I don't like this weight. So projection is me seeing it in everybody else. And projection is a common word used a lot, but I really want to make sure you guys understand it. But projection is the way that the ego goes, okay, I can get rid of this shit, but it actually doesn't work. Because everything you try to get rid of gets bigger in you. I'm going to say that again. Everything I try to get rid of actually gets bigger in me, because that's how universal laws work. If I try to get rid of this idea that I'm not enough by looking at them that they're not enough, guess what's going to get louder in me? It's going to get louder in me. But I have a choice, and because spirit can't pull you, they just don't. It's because of free will. Spirit just stands for the whole time going, you can see yourself in Christ consciousness. You can see yourself correctly. And then you can flip it and go, oh, no. I put on 5 pounds. And that's the moment to moment. So that's projection perception. Okay, you guys I still got you guys, right? You haven't lost you? Cool. Okay. 1 or 2 more concepts. And the magic pill is called atonement. Now I need to remind you, I did not grow up Catholic. I have not read the Bible. So I know atonement means a couple of things from different backgrounds. Don't ask me what it might mean to your brain, but I can tell you what it means in the Course of Miracles. Okay. So atonement from A Course in Miracles is that in this moment right now, where I connect with the divine I am, picture number 1, where I connect with the bubbles, in this moment right now, atonement, I can take this thought that there's something wrong with me because I put on 5 pounds. I'm going to give it to God, give it to Christ consciousness. Here, take this. I'm going to forgive that thought. And it's not my job to forgive, it's spirit jobs to forgive. She will take it, cleanse it, and give me back love. And that's all I need to do moment to moment. And the more often I do that and give up this box, With time, you walk around like this. And then because human, you're going to jump back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But it's understanding if you could only do one thing, atonement is a principle of the now. It's in this moment, I'll bring in Christ consciousness, sit still, and put it on the altar, forgive this thought, and receive love back. And that's the moment to moment to moment awareness. Now they want me to pull it one more thread, then I'll put Q&A coaching. The reason I'm moving a lot of my work into relationship coaching is because where we see us depositing this box the most is on our partners. Got it? Or lack of partner, or kids, or parents. But the relationships, okay, I'm gonna now go a bit deeper because they're telling me they're gonna get it. If this is my husband, he actually doesn't exist. Remember, this body is temporary. It's gonna dissolve. My husband, moment to moment, is a reflection of me and my mind. Got it? And he will show up, my kid will show up exactly as a mirror to my consciousness, moment to moment. So if I am in this energy of like, you did something wrong, you did something wrong, you did something wrong, they're going to show up that way. And if I'm in this energy of Christ consciousness, then there's a divine perfection that is experienced, which is why people love hanging out with kids and people get excited about having grandkids, because you get into that energy of Christ consciousness and God, but you don't need to have kids or grandkids to get there. It's a matter of giving up the stuff that's in the box. Okay, let's take us to practice. Go and close your eyes. And once your eyes are closed, bring in your guides, your divine support team, your angels, your ancestors, and just breathe. Find a long breath in and a slow breath out. Take a deep breath in and a quiet breath out. Inhaling and exhaling. Belly rises and belly falls. Inviting yourself into a beautiful place in nature. A place you visit often. A place from fairy tales. A place you've never been. Get your body relaxed, calm, and quiet while you're here. And just breathe. First, start to look around you. What do you see? What are the colors? What do you hear? What do you smell? Just breathe here. Noticing how your body gets relaxed, calm, and quiet and still as you breathe. Welcoming your guides, your angels, your divine support team, your ancestors. Most of you have done that with me before, so just bring all of the energies of love in. Remembering, these energies of love do not see form. You are part of them, they are part of you. In this meditation, Holy Spirit steps forward. She's got a platter or an altar that she's placed here. And we'll use the principle of atonement. Atonement means at one with me. Remembering that the Holy Spirit is complete love, complete joy, complete divinity. As you walk over to the altar, Place anything you want on the altar, any thought that says you're less than, any thought that perseverates the perfectionism or people pleasing, any thought in where you're looking for approval. Just put it there. And simply saying, forgiveness, set me and everyone free. Remember, it's not our job to forgive. It's Holy Spirit's job. Noticing how your body and mind have settled into the now. Now, if you put this on the platter, asking for forgiveness, she will take this. And you may see, sense, or feel her placing her hand on your heart, filling yourself with the consciousness, the divine that you are, the God self, the I am, the infinite love. Allow that to enter. Staying in this still space with breath. Forgiving the thought that you could have ever, ever, ever been less than. Take 5 or 6 more breaths. Noticing what's happening in your mind and your body. Taking a moment to thank Holy Spirit and thank yourself. And at your own pace, start to come back to the room, back to this moment. Open your eyes when you're ready. I'm curious if anyone wants to share how that was in the chat box, what came up for you. And as you guys are sharing, I just want to remind you, spirit does not see your body or form. They don't see the clump of flesh that's Tina. They only see the perfection of who you are. Share in the chat box, what happened to you as you did that? Nothing, something. I couldn't give it up. I was attached to it. I guess a few minutes. Maybe it felt a bit lighter, maybe didn't. Did you notice? Lots of resistance and neck pain. Fear came in. Nice, Kate. Nice, Kate. That's so good that you said that. Anyone else want to share? I feel lighter and more at ease. Great. Amazing, Corey. Got tired. Beautiful, Tina. Good. And before I open to Q&A, I want to remind you guys, I put in the chat box, the ego projects, spirit extends. Anytime you're seeing lack in anybody, that is the ego's projections. Got it? Louise wrote, it's difficult to give up, feels part of who I am, even though I understand that it isn't. And Kate, I think that's what happened with you too. The ego does not want to give up. It is convinced that you're fucked. The ego is convinced that you're whatever. And to giving it up sometimes takes the willingness. So sometimes we have to give up one layer, then we have to see another layer, then another layer. And eventually just giving up that you're a body and separate from God is really the key. How do I define atonement? Atonement is at one with me. Jenny wrote a question. In this, I had the idea that wanting internal or external validation is still ego looking for validation. Is that on track? 199%. Yes, Joni. Amazing. And Troy wrote, I was much more present and felt in flow. Amazing. All right. As some of you know, during these community calls, I open up to Q&A, coaching. All you do is go to the react button, put up your hand, and then I will grab you. While you're doing that, I'm going to stick a couple tabs in the box if I remember how to. I'll give you guys a few minutes to just throw up your hands, and I will grab you one at a time. If there are any questions. Oh, no hands up. Cool. Okay, I guess I'll just keep teaching. All right. As some of you know, I've got a webinar tomorrow. You can register for it there. It's on relationships. Kate will grab you. It's tomorrow at 10. There's like a series. There's 3 parts. And I don't know. All right, cool. Hey, Kate. So good to see you.
Yes, sorry, we've yes, 5 o'clock over here, but I'm trying to stay awake. Yeah, just wanted to ask a little bit more about the that meditation piece because normally I find meditation is something quite easy for me to get into, and I find it quite helpful and really healing. Like it's always a positive experience, and it just felt like, nah, nah, I don't want to, I don't want to, I don't want to, and no, just complete resistance. But then I started to feel a lot of the like a pain in my neck and my head, and that really brings on the fear. So for me, that I can't get past that health issue, which tends to bring on the fear. And we spoke about that weeks ago as being a quite a dominant emotion that I can't seem to get by. Um, and a lot of the like the health issues, one of the stuff is the I do get dizziness quite a lot. So like that vertigo, it's called vestibular neurosis apparently, but it really does tend to put me away from that I am because um, it's kind of it's so I don't know how to describe it, but it's so limiting. It's almost like an invisible disability that you can't do stuff, you can't leave the house, you can't drive, you can't do a lot of stuff, and it really pulls me out of that I am space and really hard to get into that and brings that fear about. But I can't seem to get past it. Like I'll have great periods of time where I don't feel it, and then it comes on and it's got heavy brain fog. It is just yeah, it is just really difficult, but I can't seem to get past this or get better. And I don't know when it comes on and trying to figure out where the blocks are with that and I guess the meaning of why it keeps coming back or reoccurring.
Okay. Uh, so mostly it's in your neck, and then you get the vestibular, basically dizziness. Any other things you want to tell me about it before I jump in?
Um, no, not really. Just that was coming up for me trying to do the meditation. It was kind of like the neck pain, the headache, and then the fear came on, and then I fear the fear because the fear and the stress and the anxiety does bring on a lot of that dizziness at times. Um, so then that fear came on, and that thought sort of entered my head. So it's kind of like, well, it's happening during this meditation. So has it got something to do with it? Is there a question then that I'm supposed to be asking here and getting a message?
For sure, for sure. Give me a sec here. So there's a bunch of stuff coming in. What do you, if there was a thought system and an emotion potentially, but a thought system associated with the neck pain, have you pulled that thread to identify that?
No.
Okay, perfect. Because that's what's going on here. Remember how I said something like the ego, these thought systems, the spiritual ego will grab it and hook it. That's what it feels like it's done. Now I want to teach something, Kate, because I keep showing the same picture before I go back, okay? So sometimes in classes, and I always afterwards apologize when, so you know how we have this picture right here with the block.
Yeah.
This is for everybody, with the block in the middle. What we want to understand is sometimes when the guides yell and scream, is because we've been digging at this for so long, and sometimes they just swear and go, fuck, just see yourself this way. The trauma never happened. Does that make sense? And it's really hard for us to hear that because we're very attached to this.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying this is you, just, but that could have been rape. It could have been incest. They don't give a fuck what it is. But this picture, our attachment to it is like, but how do I see past it? We have to see that this is who we are. I just think that was a sidebar they wanted me to say. Okay, before I jump into it. Okay. So first thing they said when I started writing this down is a lot of her neck pain. Okay, so remember, don't get mad at me. You put your hand up. She's rigid in her ways. She doesn't believe in herself, and she gets stuck in her own stuff. Breathe, 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 breathe. And my neck is getting really tight now. And she gets stuck in her own story. And forgive me, this is gonna sound so mean. So just bear with me, okay?
That's yeah.
She gets stuck in her pity story about anything from money to life to relationships to this to that. And there's almost an unconscious addiction to that. And she knows she does it, but she doesn't know how to get out of it. Stop
Yep.
a little bit. And it's like, ooh, tight right now. And I'm sure you've heard me teach the victim triangle, right?
Yep.
Where so essentially we become the victim when we feel like we have no choices. Then we bully ourselves because we're like, come on, Kate, come on, come on. And that's the cycle you're in right now.
Mm,
That landing. So what I want
yep.
you to spend some time on is they're asking me to ask you to, let me see if I can pull this up. Give me 20 seconds. What is her relationship with Spirit God? I'm actually pulling this up from my book. I wrote it this morning. Give me a sec here. I'm going to give you, this is from the second chapter, journal prompts. Okay. Let's say everyone can do this if you want. I don't care. This is about, there we go. What, so, and these journal prompts are from my book, but it's all about what was the relationship with God like, Spirit like. And what we have to understand is because our parents are our first thing on the planet, whether we like it or not, on some level in our psyche, our parents become God. So if we have parents that were conditionally loving us, we assume God is conditionally loving us. And then certain scriptures will, certain religions will say that's true. So it's understanding that they're saying one of the big things is, oh, you're not like cowgirl. It's like it's like she doesn't have a relationship enough with this unconditional love part. Is this making sense up here?
Yeah, I think so.
Great. And
I
you'll
think
want
so.
to either cut and paste those and just journal from them, because I often find when I give people journal prompts, stuff comes out of their pen that they didn't know was.
Yep.
Everybody loves to think that, yeah, God loves unconditionally. I believe in that. But really, how much? And then we also have to look at, and I think they're in the journal prompts, what do my parents believe, grandparents believe? Because that's in me. That makes sense. And the reason your neck hurt in this meditation is because you're in that triangle and you keep getting caught in that loop between bullying yourself and the victim energy. And there should be rage in you that you're stuck in here. So that's there. Yeah, there you go. So that spirit can go, there's a party who doesn't believe you count, and that keeps you in here. Are you with me still?
Mm.
I'm going to say one more thing. Just bear with me. And this is more of a, not existential, but I need you to think of this thought. I don't count more, Kate, because I teach these classes than you do. I don't count more because XYZ than anybody else. I am a child of God. She is in me, and so are you. There, right there. And that's the energy that I can feel up here. If you found that energy more, it's like right here, that would offshoot the neck.
Mm.
Because that wants to wake up in you, because that whole idea that you don't count, you don't matter. How many of us have that? I don't count, I don't matter unless I make $1 million. I don't count, I don't matter if I don't do it. But that's what's keeping you in this triangle. But once you see yourself, like I've often described this way, if God was this massive sheet of plexiglass or glass, I should say, and it shattered into 7 billion pieces. You are just as important as Troy, as Chuck, as Joni, regardless. And every thought that you're not, because your sensitive goes like this into your body. How is this feeling right now, Kate?
Yeah, it does make sense. I do get caught up in my head a lot, and I know when I do it, and I try and stop myself from doing it. Um, but especially when like the health issues kick in and a lot of that, the dizziness, the migraines, all that kind of stuff, it really pulls me out of that child of God, I guess, kind of space, or that I am worthy, or I am someone. If that makes sense, it sort of takes me out of that position and into that fear-based energy, which I know I'm doing, but I don't know how to stop it.
Got it. And you have to kind of, and having had a lot of body issues too, I can totally relate. We have to get to the bottom of what we're actually afraid of. What are you actually afraid of? Are you afraid this is going to never get better? Is it afraid that you're going to be dizzy the rest of your life? You're afraid that,
Yeah, there is a fear that health wise, it's just going downwards, and I can't get myself back up to where I was 5 years ago, where I would be, easily running 5 kilometers at the drop of a hat, and being extremely fit and healthy. And it's the point where I cannot walk um, a single kilometer without having to basically collapse. Um, like, or get out of bed and walk around and do stuff and clean my house, like, because that fatigue sets in, and the lethargy sets in, and then the dizziness sets in. And if I try and do more of it, it just makes me feel worse, if that makes sense. It's kind of stuck in a loop where I can't get healthier because anything I try and do in terms of the physical sends me back.
Totally got it. And I know you've heard me say this before. I think you've heard me say this before. We talk about cause and effect. Cause is always the mind, effect is always the body. Got it? Stay with me.
Yeah.
The body is just the effect of the mind. And then I wrote down, I was asking them as you were talking. They said, she's really, because they showed me our mom. There's a lie that runs in your ancestry that you don't matter. And that's what's keeping this pain alive. And you've never said, fuck, I refuse to believe that. And then the health kind of takes off on you, but you're looking at the effect. When I go there, I'm like, hot chocolate whipped cream. I'm looking at the whipped cream, not the hot chocolate. Got it? I know it's a terrible analogy, but the hell. It's understanding that you have to be willing to grab that thought by its horns and say, I'm going to figure you fucking thought out until I believe I matter, because that's the problem. You need almost like bulldog determination, because the ego's got you like a bulldog to say you don't matter. Is it making any sense to your brain?
I don't know why, but I can really hear my heartbeat in my left side of my neck and my ear, and it's really distracting.
Perfect.
It's just sort of like really pounding on me. But yeah.
A lot of that's because it's a mirror to what they're trying to tell me here. And that's why I record this.
Mm.
And I keep saying the same thing. She doesn't believe she matters. She doesn't believe she matters. And you can only think that thought so long before it impacts us. And it's ironic because I didn't know what I was teaching 20 minutes ago, straight up. And then I grabbed a piece of paper, drew these funny pictures, wrote down people pleasing, perfectionism, need for approval. And then I wrote a whole bunch of other stuff. And it was obviously all for you.
Mm.
Got it? Because this is a lie. This is the truth. And when we have health issues, we have to really go, I am willing to think a different way. God, let me think like you do. And it's a sort of a relaxation into her energy, spirit's energy, of how much you're loved. And notice how much we resist that, but go, no. I am. But it's not just I am in a flimsy way, but it's I am. And there's almost like this. I always talk about how there's two energies that heal, masculine and feminine. The feminine is the forgiveness. We also need the masculine to say, Kate, no more. And sometimes when I yell on these calls, it's because that comes through me. It's like, come on, you count, you matter. It's a lie. And we need a bit more of that. Tell me what's come up for you right now.
Um, it's kind of like, yes, I believe that, but I'm feeling a lot of resistance come through, because it feels like whenever I have done that, and there and I've tried so hard so many times to do the meditations, do the forgiveness work, do a whole lot of stuff, and get into it and change that mindset and work so hard, and it's still kind of, it feels like then it's like boom, it happens again, and that health issue and that fear comes in, and it's kind of like it's not working. So those doubts start coming, and then I have to start believing again that it does work, and I have to keep doing it and keep pushing and so forth. And then I do get in that, well, maybe I'm not doing enough. Maybe I need to do something different. Maybe I need to do this. Maybe I need to do, I'm not doing enough of this. I'm not doing enough of that. So then I get stuck in that kind of loop, because I'm forever trying to find the solution of how to get better.
What if the solution's inside of you?
Well, I've come to believe that for a little while now. I just can't quite find it inside of me, like where inside of me, like how inside of me. And I'm trying to do sort of a whole lot of different stuff to let it come through and that connection with spirit. And then I get mad at myself. It's like, why am I not getting this? Just why is it not happening? Um, if that makes sense.
It does. And I want you, thank you so much for your honest, beautiful shares. You can see how the ego is just slippery for you.
Yeah.
The thing the ego resists the most is right now. And that meditation was all about taking you to the now. The ego's like, no fucking way. Let me show you the pain. Let me remind you. And the now, they're showing a picture of a pathway that it's like a road or a pathway. The pathway of love, the pathway of now takes us to miracles. And the idea of forgiveness work, the idea of the I am, is about stilling my mind to right now. Can I feel more love in this second? Can I still my body in this second? Can I let the breath, me and my God self, breathe together? Just try this out with me, Kate. Go and close your eyes. And I want you to imagine your God self and you are together. That energy that I call your God self is holding your hand. And that God self is breathing with you. I want you to breathe with me and you and her together for 10 or 20 breaths. Just breathe. There you go. She's breathing you. And as she's breathing you, just see her assisting you in her breath. And she just put a hand on your third eye. And she's saying, just tell her she is love. I am love. And just let those words enter your body. Let them enter from the crown of the head to the tip of the toes. I am love. I am love. And just keep breathing like a cycle. Stay here. Keep breathing. Keep your eyes closed. And tell me what you're noticing as you're doing this.
Um, it feels great, but my laptop is screaming on the other side that my battery's about to die, so I'm kind of getting pulled out of it. Unfortunately, but it kind of it feels right just sitting in that space, and comforting.
And what if you could do that all day, every day? The body has to let go.
That would be amazing.
Because that's the parasympathetic. Because then you're not gripping.
Yeah.
And it's ironic that the batteries, because all of it's part of it. The battery dying is like that spirit dying. But at the same time, I know I am enough and beautiful and incredible. I'll teach you one more thing. The thing I would do if I were you is I would avoid all polarity. What I mean, or dichotomy. That's what I meant, polarity, dichotomy. So anytime I said, I made lunch, dinner before this call started because of my schedule and my husband's schedule. And if I was making dinner from this place of, I want to be a good wife, automatically then I'm a bad wife. See how that works? Or, oh, it's like anything that I touch where I see polarity, I pull back. Because with any illness, the ego's grabbing us and taking us to polarity.
Yeah.
Fear, love, fear, love. So as soon as you find yourself going into any polarity at all, pull back and go, I'm hungry. Food is good. You know what I mean? Here's food, right? So to even take out the polarity of the food is good. I don't know, is that making sense? That's the other piece they want me to give you is avoid polarity. And if you avoid polarity, you'll step out of here into here. And that's why people often discuss when they actually discover the secret to healing, they find it super simple, but it's hard to pull the threads of the ego back a million times. is it?
Yep. Yeah, it does make a lot of sense, and I know deep down inside, I do know that it just becomes that battle of and falling into that victim triangle without wanting or meaning, instead of knowing you're there, but it's kind of like, shit, I'm here again. Like,
Right.
it's back again,
Totally.
back here again.
And one more
So,
thing I do a lot of is I'm really aware, okay, is this thought in the victim triangle? If it is, step out. So the victim triangle takes me on to the lower emotions. If I'm not in there, I'm in joy.
yeah,
If I'm not in there, I'm in love. If I'm not in there, I'm in peace. And that's the work I want you to start doing. How does that feel?
yeah, good.
Okay. By the way, is it 5 in the morning or 5 at night there?
Morning.
Oh, crazy. Well, thank you for
Yeah.
waiting so early.
Next week, we change our time. Your time's changed, so my time will change. So it'll be 4 o'clock in the morning here. So I might miss a few calls.
Okay. That's early birdie. Awesome. Well, thank you for showing up, Kate.
Thank you.
Thank you lots of love. Hey, Chuck. And guys, I apologize. I do have a webinar, a podcast at 11. Oh, 12. Hey, Chuck.
Oh,
I've got 10 minutes.
it's a little different
Go for it.
for me. And it actually kind of ties in with Kate in a lot of ways. Um, this is my time of year that all my doctors want to see me.
Fun.
And so I'd done my labs and done my echoes and all that stuff. And I see one the end of this week, but this last week, my face has broke out. I never even had that issue when I was a teenager. And the thought that I've been having is because I don't know how they do this stuff here, but when I go in and get my labs done, by the time I get home, I have the results in my computer.
Wow.
Same with the echocardiogram, and there's some concerning things, high white cell count, and then something called lymphocytes or something, which is white blood cells, which is supposed to be 25% or no lower than that. Mine's at 12. My aortic aneurysm has gotten bigger. Um, so these are all things that what I do is I put them away because I don't know. But then I think what happens, this was my thought as you were talking to Kate, is I think by my subduing the emotion and hiding all this stuff, because I don't know, that's what's causing my face to break out. I don't know. Um, I'm just doing what I normally do, make it go away by ignoring that it's there.
Right. And the making it go away is from what emotion? Fear?
Fear.
Okay, awesome. All right, so that's what's going under your skin. Typically, acne is anger, right? Like annoyance. If you're annoyed by something, what are you annoyed by?
In this case, some of the indications are the cancer stuff again, which I already knew had came back and have been ignoring it. um, so I suspect it's a fear there, because, like I said, these are things that I don't see it. It doesn't exist.
Right. And so what your guides are showing me, and I know you know this, they're saying stop lifting the carpet up and pushing out of the carpet, which I know you know. You're saying go a bit deeper. What are you actually afraid of? Because they're telling me you're not afraid to die. So what are you actually afraid of?
No, because this morning, as I'm looking, I think the morning I take 7 medications. I'm looking at all those pills and I'm thinking, if I stop taking these, I can leave this world and nobody would know that I committed suicide. And so it's, um, not that I would, it's
Yeah.
just that thought that these things are what's keeping me here.
Okay. But are they?
I don't know that.
Exactly.
That's just a thought.
Totally. Because they arguing, are they? They're saying still keep going. What are you actually scared of?
Well, I'd never really thought of it, but um, I'm afraid of becoming as dependent on other people as my parents were on me.
Bingo. So I'll just ignore it and it's not going to happen and I'll shove it under the carpet and leave it alone. And can you feel that fear in your body?
I can feel it trying, and I can feel my rest of me putting it away.
What if you just sat with that rather than shoving it away?
I don't know. I'm getting hot. My head is starting to feel like it's getting bigger. I'm fighting it.
That's good. And those physiological sensations are just like Kate's, like tapping out is a sign that we're hitting the right neural pathway. Right?
Okay.
So keep pulling that thread and exploring it because they keep saying the same thing. But I'll just tell you what they kept saying. He's not afraid to die. It's just a process towards dying that he's afraid of.
I caring for both my parents through that process, I could see that.
Two things, but you do actually have choice. I mean, Abraham Hicks says this, that you can say, no, I just want to go like that. I just want to go. I'm done. And the joke I'll make is, you guys don't have MAY, do you? Like assisted suicide?
I don't know.
We have it up here in Canada, like relatively new in the last few years. The joke I always make with my husband is, MAID is what I'm going to use when I need to, right? But it's not a joke. It's like very serious, right? Because I will not do what my parents are doing to us as kids, right? And so it's really understanding that here we have a bit more of a choice because we have that, but I've heard the states are looking at that. But I would actually speak with my guides and direct them, this is what I want. I want to go this way. I want to live this way. I want it to be over like that or not. As opposed to just shoving that thought process under the carpet. How's that feeling?
It feels different. It's something I'll have to study.
Yeah. And just sit with and get clear for what the intention for Chuck is. Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks. Like I said, guys, I have a podcast at 12. So let's just do a closing meditation. Let's close our eyes. What great questions, Kate and Chuck. Thank you. Take a few breaths. The willingness to dissolve and release the idea that I'm not enough. The willingness to dissolve and release that idea that I've done something wrong. The willingness to step into my God self is my work. Take 5 or 6 breaths here. Beautiful. Then when you're ready, go to open your eyes. So great to see everybody. I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see some of you guys tomorrow morning for the relationships webinar. So much love, guys. Have a great day. Take care.